The community of Elsies River has welcomed the judgment today here in the Cape Town High Court, of course finding 42-year-old Mortimer Saunders guilty of the rape as well as murder of 3-year-old Courtney Pieters in Elsies River last year. Now this case has made headlines not just here in Cape Town, in the Western Cape, South Africa, but indeed across the world because Courtney was indeed living, or rather the man that had raped and killed her was indeed living in her family home, was the best friend of her father, was trusted by the family as well as this young girl, and of course throughout the trial in his plea agreement and explanation and so on, having admitted to feeding the child and poison, citing differences with her mother, for example, as the reason, and of course his irritation because she had asked him to watch television in his room. The judge just saying that she does not accept his version, rejecting it, saying that there's no way that she will accept that this was his motivation, saying that he was motivated by selfishness and lewdness. And of course community members outside court here have welcomed the ruling. Now joining me is Celestia Pirang from the Elsies River community. You're wearing a Justice for Courtney t-shirt. You are part of the community in the 9-day search for her. You also are a neighbour of the family. What is the sense that the community of Elsies River is feeling today? Is it relief? It's been a hard road for you.
It's definitely a big relief, but it's also, we are very emotional about this because this road was not easy. I can tell you this was not the easy road. It's been more than a year. We cannot understand why he did this. And we also think that this should be an example to moms out there to be more cautious about their young ones. To actually, I know that they trusted Mortimer, but to actually just be double check on everything, anything.
The community at this point, it has been a long road. You are still dealing with very raw emotions. Yes. Are you satisfied? Because the court in no uncertain terms accepted the state's evidence, even though a judge did say that it was circumstantial evidence, but accepting it beyond reasonable doubt that the state did manage to prove premeditated murder. In other words, Mortimer Saunders planned to murder this young girl, that he raped her, not as he had said early on that he inserted 3 fingers into her private area, but that he would have raped her ante-mortem, meaning that he raped her while she was alive. After all this information digested by the community, because we saw Courtney's mom leaving the court very quickly just now, and one can only suppose the emotions going through her at the moment. From the community side, are you satisfied with what the state has done in this case?
Yes, more than satisfied. We're extremely happy. We are grateful towards the state for doing this for us as a community of Sabra and Elsies River.
Thank you very much, Celestia Pirang, of course a neighbour as well as a member who had gone on part of this 9-day search for this little girl since she was reported missing, and then of course only to find 9 days later that her body had been buried in a shallow grave in an industrial area very close to where the family lived. Now of course Courtney being one of many children that had been killed, gruesomely so, in the Western Cape, but earlier on I've mentioned names that just pop up to mind, such as Tasha Ahrens in Mitchell's Plain, little girls like Renee Roman in Lavender Hill, and it's just, as a matter of fact, at the moment in this very high court behind me, judgment in the matter of Hannah Cornelius, also a Stellenbosch University student who was also brutally killed. To 2017 was indeed a very difficult year, a very hard year for young children, as well as the fight against violence against women and children. Of course, lots of community activists have come out, organizations from across the Cape Flats have joined in not just the search for Courtney, but also saying enough is enough. Groupings have come together to go out on searches to find people to come together when they hear of children going missing. And of course, Shanice Appels is one of those community members who is very active as well, an activist not just for women's rights, but also, Shanice, the kind of thing we've seen with the Courtney case. You've been involved with the search for her. Over 60 children, we've learned from NGOs and the like, in 2017 have fallen victim to such gruesome violence. You said to me just now you are satisfied with the way this case has proceeded concluded as well.
Yes, I'm very satisfied, and it is right what you are saying. Within with the Western Cape, we have so many little girls that was raped and murdered, and I think that the case of Courtney was very shocking, and it also awoke so many of us in the coloured communities, because now we see that our rapists aren't just guys on the corners, but someone we trust in our own household as well. So we are very satisfied at the fact that we have received justice, because it has been a long road. For a 3-year-old girl that doesn't even know what sex is, had a dirty man shove his private parts in her small tiny body, and the fact that today we can stand here and be filled with so much joy and also sadness that we even had to be here today.
Thank you very much, Shanice Apples there, of course, just talking again about the feeling from the communities, the feeling from people that had been active in the search for Courtney, also just saying that it's still going to take quite a while, and of course we know that the matter has been postponed until the 4th of December for sentencing procedures to commence. We know that the defence wants to draw up a pre-sentencing report, as well as the state had indicated that it wants to complete and finalise a victim impact assessment as well. So at this point in time, the saga around the case of Courtney Pieters, some sense of closure, because now the man guilty of feeding a young girl ant poison, of strangling her, of raping her, murdering her, burying her body in a shallow grave meters from a family home, seems to be coming to an end here in the Cape Town High Court.